How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Sorry, I totally just rolled your intro for your podcast like it was my podcast. My bad.
It's okay.
Okay.
Welcome to Don't Say Cant. I'm Stephanie Carlson. And I have the distinct pleasure of being here with my husband, Matt Carlson. Hey, honey.
What's up?
Hey.
Hi.
This is the very first episode
Oh, shit.
of Don't Say Cant.
Yay.
I'm kind of excited.
We should be.
Kind of excited.
I'll stop. I just got some really good coffee. That's all. My bad.
We do have some pretty good coffee.
Black Rifle Coffee.
Yay. So I'm here. So this is our Don't Say Cant podcast that I had this little brainchild of a podcast. And I really just want to talk with people. I want to hear people's stories. I want to know what specifically their career path was, how they landed where they are, and maybe some success, maybe some failures along the way. And just kind of get to know Matt Carlson.
Oh, boy.
The idea is that the podcast can be used and listened to by anyone and anything, somebody that's looking for a career change or looking to learn something different. And selfishly, I like to learn from people. I think you learn a lot by hearing how other people got to where they are today and what they struggled with. Because I think there's a lot to be said about there's a lot to be said and a lot to be learned from other people's mistakes and other people's successes, and maybe putting your own spin on it.
Absolutely.
I think you can definitely do that. So I'd like to hear your story. How did you land in your current employment? And we could be vague.
Yeah.
We'll keep it vague.
So the industry itself.
The industry, yeah.
So I got into the first responder community at 17 when I joined Search and Rescue.
Oh, nice.
My mom, of all people, actually was like, hey, do you want me to take you to the courthouse so that way you can sign up for Search and Rescue?
Oh.
She just knew, like, I wanted to do something that, I don't know. I don't remember how we got to that point, but I just remember distinctly she asked me if I wanted to go to the courthouse.
Wow.
Right. And so, so that's where I started with that. And then after I came out of Job Corps, I was just looking for some work. I graduated as a forester, trying to get on with the Forest Service and whatnot. But I was with a girl that didn't want to leave the city, and
There's always a girl.
There's always a girl. So, I ended up staying and passing up on a couple of different job opportunities just to stay with her, which was a mistake, and a blessing because I'm happy where I am today because of it. But then when I got into my current industry, because I'm not a forester per se anymore, I'm still working in the emergency management industry. But I became a first responder for a company in Seattle, and I started making a stupid amount of money.
Nice.
I mean, it was around 2007, and I was only making $12.50 an hour. And my paycheck was usually around $1,800 every 2 weeks.
That's a significant amount of work.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of hours.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. It was like, I mean, I'd work 313s.
Nice.
And then I'd work another 2 12-hour shifts on top of that.
Oh, jeez.
And so I would do that, 3 or 4, 6 days. I do usually 6, 7 days a week just because I didn't really, the relationship was on the rocks, I'll put it that way.
Sure. So it's easier to kind of focus on work.
Oh, yeah.
And dive into work.
Oh, yeah. I just went into work and I just collected my paycheck and did my thing. Started off right out the gate, not realizing it, but I was a supervisor right out the gate with them because within the company, the title of a first responder for them was essentially an area manager. So your job was to go to new sites, learn them, and then set them up and teach and train your team.
How funny.
Which is almost identical to what's going on today.
Very similar.
15 years later.
But you started that in 17. So what led you, what other things have you done between?
Started what in 17?
You said in 7.
I started in that industry back in 07.
Oh, I thought you said you were 17 when you were doing security.
No.
When you start.
No, first
responder.
First responder at 17.
Yes.
It just, as a first responder, I'll just say this. You have branches of being a first responder.
Sure.
And so one branch closed. And so I chose a different path as a first responder.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I'm currently doing today.
Gotcha. So.
Instead of being a wildland firefighter, I'm now doing this.
Right. But you've had other paths. There's time between there where you weren't always doing first responder type work.
I mean, there was definitely dead areas, but I was always still in some fashion doing some line of what I currently do today. Sure. But she's referring to like my automotive side. Yeah,
I'm referring to all the things that you do, because you're not just a first responder, and not to say just you're a jack of all trades. You're photographer, videographer, you social media marketing. What else have you done? Forestry, firefighter. What else am I missing? Mechanic,
biomedical technician, dispatcher.
Yes. And now
collection agent, repossession.
See, that's right. What was the hardest of all those to learn, to get into?
I would have to say probably current job.
Interesting.
And the only reason is because when you're young,
sure,
you don't think.
You think you do, but you don't.
I could easily say I probably haven't started thinking, except for maybe this last year, like heavily thinking.
Yes.
And furthering my education in my career path. So yes. That's why I say currently that answer would be definitely the career path now. Because when you're young, and when I was in those positions that still doing to today, I wasn't paying attention to everything going around. I was, everything that was going on around me. So I wasn't nearly as receptive to really honing and practicing the skills of a good manager at a young age.
Right.
I was a boss at a young age.
Right.
I was not a leader. I was a boss. Now I'm being a little harsh, because something that's just stayed true to today is very high expectations of what should be done. And I expect a lot from myself and my team. So sure. I can be a real asshole.
Sure. Yes, you can.
And it's not that I mean to by any means.
No.
It's I lack the ability to communicate, the sense of urgency to doing a good job, mm-hmm. or being the best that you can be, and overcoming, shortfalls during that process. So at 19, I didn't give two fucks. If you didn't do what I asked you to, get the fuck out of here, or we're fighting.
It doesn't have to be that level of extreme.
Right. It was just, it was also a bunch of young kids on a trail crew, and we're just out there. A lot of testosterone.
So this is when you were in the forestry?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You were doing forest work?
That's when I really first experienced being I hate to say leader, but I wasn't. It was I was a crew boss, essentially.
Sure.
Me and a couple other dudes we were like the team leads because we were all kind of like the same graduating class, and there was only a couple of us. So it was fun, but I know I wasn't paying attention. The only thing I paid attention to was my saw. I was a sawyer. I was our head sawyer. I didn't give two fucks. Like, I was the best goddamn chainsaw sawyer. And the reason why is because I went to Job Corps. Literally, this is how small-minded going into Job Corps I was. I wanted to learn about chainsaws so I could go back to my small town and become a chaser, which is just a dude standing up on a logging road landing, cutting branches off of trees before they're loaded to the logging trucks.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to go to school for that. How to be a really awesome chainsaw operator, essentially.
That's cool though.
Oh,
that's pretty awesome.
Yo, Hot Shots Brewery Company. We should definitely make a Sawyer operator shirt. Just saying. Pitching that idea, and I'm going to tag you in this.
Yeah.
Shout out. That's what I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, I was just going to say you're wearing your other side. Other side.
I'll put it right here.
There's the Hot Shots logo there.
Yep. I love these guys. They truly, I haven't tried the coffee, but they make forestry t-shirts that really, properly represent us as a community. Matter of fact, I've got their Drop and Hammer Sawyer retro mug, and I actually just picked up their Wildland Deadhead t-shirt. I have a couple other ones, Well Hung, and other cool stuff. So shout out to those guys.
For sure.
They're pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
Where were we going with that? I'm just saying. We were talking about being a sawyer. So I went to Job Corps to be a
chaser.
Sawyer. A chaser.
Chaser, yeah.
At the time, chaser. Once I graduated, I'm a sawyer. So, got out of Job Corps. And so the only professional thing that I cared about as a leader at that point was being the best sawyer. Excuse me. So I didn't focus on those skills to be a good leader with running a team and learning to work with others' emotions. See, I brought it back.
You did bring it back. Which
very rarely happens.
It was good. It was great. So you were... What was so compelling about becoming a sawyer, learning that trade? What was so great about that?
I don't know. There was just, I remember having like a toy chainsaw. I had one of those little steel chainsaws. I remember it was white and orange, had the little BB chain on it and stuff like that. And so that was like one of my childhood toys I remember having. And I wonder if that kind of like just imprinted on me.
Sure.
And so I always saw somebody who had the ability to cut down a giant tree just like almost like a god. Like, it was just a cool person. Like, I could watch a dude fall trees for days. Like, I'm looking at the cuts, like being out there. Like, I've outran trees because I had a shit ass team leader.
Oh, jeez.
That decided to fall a tree even against the advice of his fucking lead sawyer who had more experience than him. Yeah, and I hope if you fucking see this, I'm talking about you. Hit me up. Oh, fucker.
Well, they call those things widowmakers, right?
Yeah. So a widowmaker is essentially a dead tree. And what we at the time were doing, we were clearing out these widowmakers. This guy didn't have two shits for fucking knowledge. He took a 3-day course from steel and thought he was king shit. And I trying not to be emotional.
It's all right.
So anyways, he's looking at this fucking tree, and he just wants to be King Dick on campus and drop it. It's a dangerous fucking tree. He shouldn't have done it. The only proper way to have removed this tree was to fall 2 living trees in front of it to let it fall all 3 together. There was no reason for him to be trying to cut this thing.
Sure.
So I'm standing literally at his like dead right, but I'm like 100 feet away from him. Or no, I'd probably say closer to 60, 70 feet, something like that. Because I had to cover a little bit of ground and I got lucky. So as a sawyer, you know, escape routes, blah, 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 45, blah, blah, blah.
45.
So it just, so from where you're standing, it's always a 45 degree angle, either behind to your right or, hit the mic. So, or to your left, you always try to have an escape zone. And they say roughly it's supposed to be 45. And this is old education, by the way. So it might have changed since I took the S class, but it's just one of the classes that you do through your forestry training and stuff like that. So, yeah, back when I went through training, we were still using AView digital services for the employment process for the U.S. Forest Service. So I don't know if they even still use that anymore. I
have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they just use USA Jobs now. That's how old that I'm dating myself with that program. I sound old as shit when I say things like that. Anyways, so getting back to the escape route. So I'm to his right, probably about 60, 70 feet away from him, and all I have to say is the tree turned and came towards me. And so I start running, and mind you, I'm cutting hillside. The duff was probably, I'd have to say 3 inches. So duff is like the underbrush where it's almost spongy. So
okay.
It's like it's forestry sand.
I was just gonna say, is it like running through sand up a hill?
Sand.
Or on a hillside.
Yeah, so you're doing that on a crossed hillside.
That's insane.
And you're trying to step over shit, and like you've got the clock started.
Fuck.
And you don't run. I mean, you can run uphill, right?
Sure.
Looking back, it seemed like the fastest route for me was to keep going straight side, run across straight side hill. You don't ever try to run down unless it's at that 45. So you're still continuing away from the path, not just straight down, because you can have rocks or other trees and branches and things like that are going to come down, that could, cause injury as well. Mm-hmm. So, and please forgive me, all my forestry people. It's been a minute since I've been in the game, so I apologize. I'm just trying to recall this the best I can.
Sure.
So, anyways, yeah, the tree falls, right? And then the top 3 feet of the tree actually hits me, knocks my helmet off. I'm running. I'm in Carhartts, double D Carhartts, and I had my chaps on, at a vest, my hard hat. Like, I was not the most mobile person.
You were in full PPE.
Yeah, just like fucking booking it. Which, I mean, you're going to be in full PPE, but I thought it was in a safe location.
Right.
Because there's absolutely no reason that if you're falling a tree downhill that it should fucking twist and turn and come side hill unless you cut the hinge out, because you don't know how to fall a fucking widowmaker that you shouldn't have been touching in the first place, you fucking idiot. Sorry.
Ooh. Well, I mean, to your credit, he did try to kill you.
He's an idiot.
I don't think it was intentional.
Nobody cares, dig harder.
I like that. That's what his shirt says, just to throw it out there. That is obnoxious.
Oh, that was really loud.
That was super loud.
I heard the shit out of that in my headphones. Sorry about that, guys. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So for being a sawyer, that's what it was. It was, I just gravitated towards it. There was also financial, staple to that, becoming a chaser. back then, I would have been 18. So no. Oh, by the way, I didn't graduate high school either. I have a GED.
Sure.
So for a GED in a small town, I'd be starting out making anywhere from $15 to $17 an hour.
That's great.
And I'd just sit up on a landing running chainsaws. I just had to get up early. I was leaving the house at 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Cutting and shit by 5 o'clock. And then we were back home by 2:30.
Do you miss it?
Yeah, there's a part. There's definitely a part.
Sure.
I used to look on Craigslist all the time just for chainsaws.
Really?
Oh, I still do.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can find me a solid, still good running 046 with a 32-inch bar, I'm snagging it. Oh, by the way, it has to have a full wrap. None of that half wrap, quarter wrap, 3/4 wrap shit.
No idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you're a sawyer in the Forest Service, you know exactly what he's talking about.
Man, I'm just saying, I'm old school. I want my full wrap. That's all I care about. I mean, to the point that I actually have a chainsaw in my Pulaski's tattooed on my forearm. Like, that's my blood. Like, it's branded me. But no, the worst chainsaw, or the heaviest chainsaw that I absolutely fucking fell in love with, I want to say it was either an 040. No, it wasn't an 040. It was an 056, if I'm correct. So 056. Full wrap. This thing was prehistoric. When it started, it sounded like a 4-stroke fucking motor. And it idled like a cammed out, hot rod. Just it was, and I'm like, this is a chainsaw. Because you hear chainsaws and it's like, man,
right? Yeah.
This thing
it's more whiny.
Oh yeah, this thing lugged down like it was like Granddad just showed up. Like, that's the only way to describe it is like, let me show you kids how to do this. Yeah. That was a heavy motherfucker. I loved that saw, but it was absolutely, I learned very quickly that it was a pointless saw. Sure. Because I could do everything with my 46 that it could do. Yeah. And it was lighter. So yeah, it was quite the experience. I do miss it. I love forestry, man. I love the trails. I traded saw knowledge to our botanist. So he taught me plants and I taught him how to kill trees. Nice. But no, we all do it out of fairness.
That's awesome. I think that's one thing that is misunderstood about forestry is that you're not there to kill trees, quote unquote. You're there to help keep trails clear so that people can take advantage of nature.
Right. If we don't keep the trails nice, you're never going to come out there. You're never going to have a chance to see it.
Right.
It's truly, if you ever have a chance to go hike trails in your national forest, go do it. Because and hike trails in other national forests. It's one of those things where it's a whole new perspective and it really gives you a new appreciation. You get to learn about wildlife and plants and, excuse me, burping stuff. It's quite fascinating, to be completely honest. And we have a world that we live behind a screen with high definition, resolution. Right. When you can actually go out and experience it. And I'm guilty of it myself, I'm getting older. I have no desire to go hike like I used to. I tried. Man, I got humbled quick. I loaded up my pack. I had literally prepared for like a worst case scenario where we had to stay overnight. We went on a day hike. This trail was 3 miles. It was 3 miles down, 3 miles back, I think. Yeah. And I packed for 2 fucking days, literally 2 days. I had sat phone. I had everything. Like I had made, and it was a hot ass day. And I think it was like only like 85 that day. And I got burnt the fuck out. I thought, I was like, I was a forester. I used to do 10 miles a day, one way with a pack, with my gear. I'm a fucking beast. Watch this shit. Yeah. Ooh, I got down to my skivvies and I jumped into a fucking waterfall. Like I was overheating. Like I didn't give 2 fucks about anyone on that trail. I just didn't want to die.
Yeah. You
were warm. I think you carried my pack actually at some point.
I think so. Yeah. I think I took over. It was a gnarly hike.
Like it got the best of us, and my wife showed me that she was an athlete that day. I got very humbled, and yeah, I mean, I seriously started like having some heat stroke issues and hydration issues, and
yeah,
it was a dangerous situation. But I got humbled quick, so mad respect. I don't remember why I was talking about the hardness of.
We were talking about trails and clearing and foresters clearing trails and the respect that foresters have for nature and the trees and the areas that they're clearing. You guys are respectful of those.
We're all hippies.
Areas.
Like even the Sawyers, man, we're hippies. Yeah. We're not doing it we don't want to hurt the planet. We're trying to actually help preserve it and help it grow better.
Right.
It's science that we're thinning these forests by, we're doing surveys, to check on growth, and what we're just simply trying to make the forest better with the science that we know today, which is great.
Absolutely.
So
is there anything in so we talked about your Forest Service. And you miss it.
Absolutely.
Would there ever be a time that you would go back to that? Or do you think that you're pretty satisfied and happy where you're at?
Motherfucker, they might watch this. I don't know. The only thing I can think of, there's a couple of things that would do it.
Sure.
Possibly a game warden.
A game warden.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just, I'm older.
Yeah.
I love it, but it's a young man's job.
I was just going to say it's a young man's game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Mad respect to the old timers that are keeping it true and whatnot. But look, I let the standard go. I'm calling it what it is.
Yeah.
I was never a runner. I was always our last in our pack every time because I walked that shit. Nope, not fucking running.
No.
We ain't running on the hillside. We're going to be hiking. So I'm going to work on my cadence and my breathing.
That's right.
Which, I mean, shit, I could hike a hillside at 65, beats per minute with a pack. When I was in my prime, my resting heart rate, I'd go code in the hospital.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're rolling into the end of our time.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Would you be willing to do another episode with me?
Yeah, we could just go to commercial break and we'll come back, continue into this.
I like it. We can sort of expand on what other career paths you've taken and maybe talk about some of the things that you've learned from those experiences and how you came to be the awesome professional that you are today.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us for our first episode.